again from Tirana, Albania. I'm Leslie and this is Jason. We are early retirees that are just exploring as much of the world as possible. We use this YouTube channel as our own video diary of our travels. Today we're going to be talking about wrapping up our 10 weeks in Albania and Montenegro. So we spent 4 weeks in Vlora, Albania, 4 weeks in Budva, Montenegro, and 2 weeks in Tirana, Albania, with 2 stops in Shkodra, Albania, in transit. So we leave tomorrow morning. So we've been on the road since April 15th, and today's June 25th. So it's about 70 days. Are you ready to go home?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
We talk a lot about the food we want to
Yes,
eat,
food.
and I'd like my hair products and
Yeah.
beauty products. But we really had a really nice time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote down some questions, and we both answered them, but we don't know what each other is going to say to the questions. Woo! So exciting. All right, so I'm gonna read the first one, and you can give me your answer.
Okay.
Don't look at mine.
I'm not looking. Go.
Okay. So the first question is your favorite place or town that we visited and why?
So I kind of was just thinking about this, but my favorite place
Yeah.
was the lake
Really?
park in
Yeah.
Tirana.
That's funny.
It's just relaxing.
Yeah.
No chaos, no honking. It's nice to have the woods and a lake and all that good stuff right at the edge of the city.
Big city, yeah.
So it's sort of like Central Park, but
Peaceful.
smaller.
It kind of was I could feel my
Blood
central
pressure.
nervous system and blood pressure decreasing as we wandered around the park.
Yeah.
So we visited there like 3 different times, I think.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, it's a nice place to go. I don't know if that answers the question though.
What about out of the 3 places we visited?
I don't know. They all have their good and bad.
They do.
You know, I mean, Toronto's nice, but I'm also biased of recencies.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Vlora, maybe. It was nice to walk. I don't know. Budva's fresh in my mind with honking and chaos, so it's they were all good.
Yeah, your answer's a lot like mine.
Yeah.
So I didn't dislike anywhere we've been. Budva was busier than I thought I think it would be, and where we stayed was a very busy street above a private parking lot that everyone had to honk to enter or exit the parking lot. So if you had your windows open all day long, it was honking and motorcycles and traffic backups with lots of honking. And that just kind of like gets on your nerves. Yeah. So we ended up putting on the air conditioner even when we didn't need it because we just needed a break from the noise. I liked Vlora a lot. We had a really good routine there. So
Apartment was nice.
Apartment was really nice. I also liked the 2 smaller towns we visited, so Shkodra and Cetinje in
And
Montenegro.
Sure, yeah. They were all good.
We didn't go there.
Or wherever we went.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Petrovac.
Yeah, Petrovac.
And I know that I prefer a smaller town, but because we rely on public transportation for our trips, that it's not always practical. Shkodra, we could have stayed longer, I think. Cetinje in Montenegro was just another like really peaceful. We only spent an afternoon there, but
I agree. Good and bad about everything.
yeah. Okay. Will you miss anything?
I said
Okay.
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
So you miss that because you don't know what's
happening
really, which is good and bad. So you don't have to hear all the stuff that we hear constantly in the United States. And so that's kind of, you miss that. I will miss seeing something, hearing something new, and trying to understand it.
every single
day,
every moment
constant.
of every day.
But that's every time you travel.
Yeah.
And the feeling of safety.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing here.
It is. I mean, we live in a very rural town, so it's not part of
Yeah.
our day-to-day life. But traveling, it's the feeling
Yeah.
of safety is.
Yeah, you can be in crowds and not have to worry. And
People walk around with their phones in their back pocket.
which I usually don't worry about that, but it's something that kind of is on your mind,
Yeah.
especially in the United States now if you go somewhere. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
I said kind of the same thing. Excitement of not knowing what to expect every time you go out. You're probably going to be confused. You're probably going to see something new, different, exciting. I enjoy people watching, so that's always fun. And then just being away from the craziness of the United States. So avoiding the news has been good, although I don't do it as much as I should. But once you're back there, I feel like you see it more.
You just get sucked into it
Yeah.
for some reason. And you think you can control it. Next,
Do you know the question? You know the question?
some surprising things about
Your most surprising things, good or bad, about this trip or any place in particular.
I think I wrote good and bad. The amount of very good English speaking, that was
Toronto,
more
especially.
surprising. Number of people working in stores and restaurants, that was surprising.
I found that at the restaurant yesterday. I think I counted 7 people.
Yeah,
And it was a restaurant that has like 6 tables inside and like 3 or 4 outside, like
yeah,
2-person tables outside.
yeah.
They had-
They're always
yeah.
overloaded with employees. The lack of road rules. That's just kind of, we've talked about that many times.
Yeah.
The amount of Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
The closeness of people in line, and
Yeah.
if you're not close in line, you will get passed.
If you're not close enough, they're gonna assume you are not in
It's
line.
just personal space.
Yeah.
It's
So in the
different.
US, 3 people would come in, probably get in line if you had a normal space. Like we would wait behind people, people would just pile in behind you here.
No decaffeinated soda or coffee in Montenegro.
That was weird.
That's interesting. The lack of preservatives in foods. I said the safety again was very surprising. People were generally pretty friendly.
Mhm. Especially for here, I think in a city,
Yeah.
we've had a lot of friendly people.
Yeah.
More so than the tour. I mean, sure, there are lots of tours here, but like the beach towns,
Yeah.
I feel like the people here have been pretty.
Yeah, nobody was
Rude, no.
Yeah. Less people smoke than what I kind of thought would be the case.
Yeah.
That was surprising. I mean, there's a lot of smoking, but I didn't feel like I had to suffer with
No.
it.
But we watched someone on YouTube and they talked about how bad it was, but I think they also visit like coffee shops every day,
Yeah, so
and we don't hang out in
Yeah.
coffee shops, so
Yeah, it's not that bad in restaurants. I mean, occasionally.
yeah.
And groceries were more expensive. Just general living more expensive.
Yeah.
And water in grocery stores is really cheap.
7 liters for
Mhm.
$1.50.
Number of soccer jerseys everywhere in Toronto, from all over the place,
Yeah.
not just Albania. And we saw a Leicester City Vardy
We did
shirt
yesterday.
from 2017 or 18. That was surprising. And no graffiti.
Yeah.
Very little graffiti.
Very little graffiti. Stores like electronic stores may have glass windows and a glass door, and they have no security gate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was surprising.
If they do have a security gate, it doesn't have graffiti all over it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Spain, like we always said, you couldn't tell. We would associate a bad place with like graffiti, but everywhere in Spain was marked with graffiti buildings.
That's mostly
security
Europe.
gate. Yeah.
Really.
But
Yeah.
here it's just not like
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
which is really nice. Now, they don't mark up their buildings, but they aren't great with their trash. So, whatever. But I thought Toronto would have a lot more selection in their grocery stores. I thought when we get to Toronto, there'll be like more international foods or things we're used to. That was not the case.
No Thai restaurants that we saw.
No. It's been very easy to navigate around everywhere.
In Toronto.
In Toronto. I mean,
Bootleg.
navigate as in,
Yeah.
like we can communicate to people, we can get what we need.
Oh,
It's
I see what
not
you're saying.
like
Yeah. Mhm.
hard. The prices were kind of surprising when we get to my budget section.
Mhm.
I really thought when we got here, expenses would be cheaper than definitely our trip to Spain and definitely than United States. But other than restaurants here, I don't feel that's really the case.
Mm-mm. And the budget will show it.
The budget will show it. We spent money. So that's what I had.
Okay.
What about your most frustrating parts of our trip?
First one I said was sidewalks and hazards on the sidewalks.
That was a lot, mainly Vlora, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean it's everywhere.
But Vlora was,
Yeah, it's really got to be alert.
yeah,
Speaks the person who fell.
retired.
Laura was rough, but I fell once in Buba, no, twice in Buba and
Once in Toronto.
once in Toronto. The impatience on the road when they're driving, so it's supposed to be more relaxed, but it seems like as soon as you get into a car, all that goes out the window and you become
Yeah, like even
sort of impatient.
when if there's a crosswalk light and it's green, the people cannot, if they can dart around you on a motorcycle or a car before you get there or right behind you,
Yeah.
they're gonna do it. They're not waiting calmly for pedestrians to pass.
You think they would?
So you really still have to watch out when you're in a green lighted crosswalk because you feel like you may die.
Yeah. Maybe a little more defensive driving would
Yeah.
be good instead of
Often.
offensive. Yeah. Frustrated. Let's see. No tap water. No flushing toilet paper in the toilet in Albania.
In Albania.
Montenegro, you could.
Montenegro. In Budva, at least, we could do both.
And then that means carrying water, which can be frustrating because you got
It's hot.
a giant jug of water that you're trying to carry. Always thirsty with eating because little sizes of fluids. Let's see. Lack of understanding of how they think, which goes back to that one. Ignorance is bliss, but
Yeah.
sometimes you're like, what? I don't
Why?
understand why it's like that. All the little Airbnb things like camping, no brooms, no fans. You feel like you're camping, but that's everywhere. Wanting something that tastes like it's from home, but it doesn't, and that's just learning that not to expect things. That's why you travel. Having to go to multiple grocery stores to get the things you need, that's kind of hard. But again, we're also shopping for things we're familiar with, which is going to be much harder. And lack of internet websites.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Or they might have a website, but you click on it and it doesn't.
yeah, so tourist information still isn't at the level you would expect for the amount of tourism they seem to be getting. My things are the treatment of animals.
I knew that. I almost wrote that, but it didn't bother me that much. I mean, it's bad, but
So, Laura had tons of stray dogs, and we did hear some hearsay of them poisoning animals to get them rid of them. Budva had more cats. They did have some dogs, and they seemed to have an ear tag vaccination or spay and neuter program. Here, not as many dogs in Toronto. I mean, less animals in general. I doubt it's because they have a progressive system. I'd hate to think of why. So that's really hard. I hate to see a hungry animal or
But the dogs here in Toronto are tagged and
yeah.
seem to be healthier. Well, not always.
We've seen some hungry
seen
looking
some
dogs. The trash collection in Ballora needs work.
Yeah, I mean it's good once it happens. It's just
In the meantime,
there's not enough bin space for the amount of trash going in.
so like businesses and regular people are putting their trash in just dumpsters on the street. So a grocery store could come and load all of the boxes that their products came in and just throw it and fill up an entire dumpster, and then everyone else just throws chairs or
And remember, you can't flush toilet paper.
and all kinds of random things next to the garbage can. So it's not Montenegro. I felt like was much more advanced in their trash collection.
Yeah.
Here is much better too, but I think Ballora is just really
I don't know. Maybe it's better during the in season.
that could be it too, because we were not in beach
Yeah.
season. But you would want to do that year round, I think, but maybe not.
Number 6. No, number 5.
What worked well with our travels?
I said
Or went well?
I said taxis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Another frustrating thing is the bus system of travel. I
Yeah.
don't know how I did not write that down. Anyway, what worked well?
Taxis. Breaking up the trips, like going to Skoder, and staying at the airport.
Yeah.
We do that mostly now. And
Yeah.
that always helps get you accustomed to sort of what's happening before you, and plus you're so tired and delirious when you get somewhere.
Hot, sweaty.
Yeah. Air conditioning in the room. Air conditioning in bedrooms works
Oh,
well.
here in Toronto we have air conditioning in the bedroom. I
Um,
couldn't go without it, I don't think.
WhatsApp is necessary. That worked well.
Mm-hmm.
And eating out in Toronto once a day instead of cooking.
Yeah, I like that really well.
Cut down on heat and walking around the grocery stores trying to find something to eat and all that good stuff.
And then eating it and being like, that wasn't very
Yeah.
good, I'm still hungry. I was pleasantly surprised with our apartments. You never know what you're getting. Budva, again, the honking was annoying. That's something you wouldn't know. I did put in my review about the parking lot honking. Airport, staying on arrival, spending the night, resting, and going back to the airport tonight to not have to travel at 3 in the morning to the airport, and then breaking up the trip. Although we need to do better again of not double booking. So we paid 2 nights in Skoder, but we were also paying for our Airbnbs, and that was just because you don't realize what you need to do before you get on the ground. But I mean, it was a couple $100.
Yeah. And it was just mainly the bus thing here. I mean, it was easier in Spain.
Yeah, for
Because
trains.
just get on the train. It was so much easier.
Yeah, if they had a train system, we wouldn't have needed to do that. What would you do differently? As we're always learning our new lifestyle.
I said stay closer to the park.
Toronto.
A little bit closer to the park in Toronto. But this is a good location. It's not that far to walk.
Yeah.
If I were here longer, though, I think I would do that. Always try to pack lighter. I didn't have hardly anything.
You hardly had anything.
But I could try to get it down
Well,
to
we had
smaller.
we came in April, so you need like long sleeve shirts, a couple, and now we don't need them.
Trying to figure that out. It's always never ending. Just use the taxi without having to mentally go through the games of
Anguish.
is this okay? I said mental strife. Not fearing the buses as much because we're okay. Well, and that's out of season.
Yeah.
I said stay on top of exercises and stretching, which is hard to do. Be more brave on arrival.
Yeah.
Not so takes a little bit to get into.
Yeah,
to
feel comfortable. And
more mental change about not wanting or expecting things to taste like things that we're familiar with.
we aren't disappointed.
Yep. Also, bringing more seasoning from home.
Yes.
Because there we are, right back to wanting it to taste like.
Yeah.
That's about it. Oh, and take red pepper flakes to the restaurants.
To the restaurants.
Yeah, we brought them.
Especially if
and
you're
we
getting
forget 'em.
pizza or pasta.
Yeah.
Take your red pepper flakes. Broken record for last trip, daily exercise. We did so good.
Mm-hmm.
So halfway through Budva, when our internet went out.
And we were afraid that if we jumped around too much, that little
Ruin the
wire
cable.
would break.
Yeah, I need to get better with that. Because I feel like a beached whale at this point. Similar to you, I wish I could be less reserved or intimidated in some situations. I feel like sometimes I just get anxious or overwhelmed and there's something I want to do or somewhere I want to eat or go into, and I just say, no, never mind, I want to do it because the situation is going to be uncomfortable. And when you have social anxiety in a foreign country, it's hard to like fight that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine when you do.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels awkward.
Yeah.
We probably could have used a bus system.
Yep.
Our answers are like identical.
Yeah.
But the taxi was less stressful. And honestly, like a 3.5-hour bus ride, I may have died from heat if the air conditioner wasn't working. We'll just say that.
Yeah, I didn't mean like the big trips. I think that's why the taxis were much better. If you can afford to go that route, that's always going to be better. I'm just saying the little trips. Like first in Buba, we were sort of like, oh no.
Yeah.
But we were thinking of Albania buses and what we had read,
and then that was easy.
Yeah, and then it was easy.
And then the local bus here was super
very
simple.
easy.
And then working on the itinerary better up front to avoid double booking. But sometimes you just don't know till you get there.
Yep.
What was your favorite meal or food you've had here?
Oh, well, you know the answer to that. Actually, probably my favorite meal was the seafood linguine at Fish Shark. Beach Gopher. That was really good. I had it twice. And it was cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap and
seafood linguine, and I had
shrimp
risotto or grilled shrimp
else.
the second time.
Yeah.
And it was and salad, and buying drinks like water or soda, and it was about $25 to $27.
Yeah, and it was good.
Yeah.
But I also had seafood risotto in other places, and it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But my overall comfort food.
Peanut butter.
No, jalapeno.
Oh.
I mean, I always have peanut butter,
Yeah.
but that's not my favorite. But it's my favorite food.
Yeah.
So that's crabs.
Yeah.
No, jalapeno.
Jalapeno Mexican restaurant in Toronto.
In Toronto, yeah.
Way to go. We've been there 4 times in 12 days.
4 times in 12 days, and it tastes good cold.
Yeah, and we went yesterday, and they all recognized us, and
gave us extra.
Yeah, we had our leftovers, and they put pickled onions and more avocado and corn and everything in there to go. Meal was probably our first meal we had at Sakura here. The Japanese food, we had tempura shrimp, and I had like it's called chicken noodles, so noodles with chicken and vegetables.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and otherwise they do a really good job with shrimp in this country. Grilled shrimp, any type of shrimp, it's really good. Like the US, it can be overcooked or hard or rubbery. It's very good. The grilled shrimp, it just has like some type of very light sauce that's just very, very
A
good.
little light coating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Heads are on. You can
And
suck the heads.
I do not do that, but I'm over
being afraid of the head
Yeah, chopping all that stuff up.
and the poop chute.
And I think now if we had been in Vlora, we would have really liked that traditional restaurant probably a lot more.
Yeah,
Like
fish.
as we started getting more comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Montenegro or Albania?
Yeah, it's a tough question also.
I know.
But it's a good question.
It is a good question, thank you.
Yeah, I said there's better buses in Montenegro. It's a more organized system. You can drink water and flush your toilet paper. But I was leaning more towards Albania, but again, I don't know if it's a bias of recencies because of being here, and more for its roughness and experiences that we had. I felt Vlora was a little bit better than Buba, but that could have been the order we went in.
Or the apartment.
Yeah, and the apartment, and Vlora was less crowded at the time because early and the Buba was getting more crowded. So it doesn't really know, but I like both, but think I lean more towards Albania since it's a little behind Montenegro, and I appreciated its history more. But there's a 12-month stay possibility, at least right now, and there is open stores on Sunday in Albania.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah, not all stores, but like grocery stores is the main thing. And the mall. I heard that person said that. But anyways.
I also lean towards Albania. Even though, like Jason said, Montenegro is a little more polished, a little more advanced. The toilet paper and the water thing is a really big plus for Montenegro, but there's just something about Albania. It is grittier, but I don't know. I liked it more. But we only went to Budva. It was crowded, and we didn't love the honking. And we really liked Cetinje, so we didn't really get enough exposure. I think we probably would have really liked the capital city, even though on YouTube it's called like the most boring capital city in Europe or something.
Yeah, to answer that question, you really kind of have to have a car to
really
sort of see everything.
Yeah, because we slow travel, we don't get as much exposure to make that real decision. But Albania does have, I feel like, better and less expensive restaurants. Okay, this is a bonus question from Trish, Jason's mom. Would we ever live here? And here, I guess she means either place.
Yeah. In this general area.
Yeah.
I said like pretty much everywhere though I would consider it, but I don't know that I've ever been anywhere where I would say
St. Kitts.
Yeah, that's probably a lot better. That was 2 decades ago. I said, but I know the issues that arise long term, and that ignorant bliss could become an issue. And what if they decided they don't like outsiders? You never know.
They were fascist once. I said I didn't see enough of Montenegro to decide, but I did love Cetinje. I think that would have been a great area. You could get to the beaches, you can get to the mountains easily, and it was a nice little peaceful small town, but not too small. But yes to Albania. You can come in as American and stay for a year. I could even live in Tirana. We talked about it. If we came here for a year, we'd live near the lake. And you know, I'm always thinking that I want to leave the U.S. and but I also feel like at some point our insurance cost will probably drive us out of the U.S. before we can get Medicare. So
yeah, or something comes up, you go bankrupt.
We're gonna go bankrupt.
No, if you have a medical problem.
Yeah, because we have.
I mean, that's typical in the United States.
Crappy ACA insurance, but so that would kind of lead you towards being more in a capital city, in like Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
It was an unknown for us. A lot of traveling people come here because it's not in Schengen, and our main reason was not in Schengen and price, which segues to my budget section. Or, since you don't like the word budget very much, I don't think you do. We'll call it the expense projections versus actual spending.
Okay.
So overall, we're under budget.
Yes.
Yay! So when you take everything, and when I say I record everything, I record
3 apps. No, 1 app.
1 app and 2 spreadsheets. So I record everything. So this includes our flights, our hotels, our apartments, the rental car we need at home to get to Dulles and back, our travel insurance. We pay a house sitter when we're gone to come in frequently. So all of that combined, we were about $425 under budget from what I thought this trip would cost. This is in spite of our transportation budget being $440 more than anticipated due to our taxi travel. And then
See, take the taxi. You're still under budget.
that's right. And then we had 2 nights in Skoder that we weren't anticipating. So that was about $660. So had we not done that, we'd be like $1,000 under budget. But we did not realize the bus system would be harder than we thought, and we prioritized comfort over cost, which is a lesson I'm learning. So we are here for 10 weeks, and I think we'll be right around $11,800. Seems like a lot, and it is more than I thought. Like when you compare week to week to Spain, it's pretty comparable to that, which I thought for sure it would be less.
It was more than Spain, right?
But we were here a week longer.
Oh, yeah.
But when you take out the average cost per week, it's fairly close.
Yeah, pretty close.
But like food was probably spent more in food here. I haven't done the total analysis. But yeah. But again, when we traveled as people with jobs, we would come to Europe for maybe a 10-day trip, and we probably spent $6,000 to $7,000. So 10 weeks versus 10 days. We slept in 7 different beds on this trip, and
that's in the budget too.
no, I just like to count it.
I know.
And then just to break down individual locations, and a little willy-nilly on like where I included the expenses to go to and from places. I wasn't probably the most consistent there, but it does include somewhere in here nights at the airport and at Skoder. But our 4 weeks in Vlora, this is just costs on the ground, so food, transportation, miscellaneous items, no airline tickets or anything like that. We spent $2,936. Our apartment was $1,585, which was about $56 a night, and we spent $1,200 on food, transportation, admissions, and miscellaneous items. Our 4 weeks in Budva cost nearly identical, $2,930. Our apartment there was $1,480, which is $53 a night, and then we spent $1,380 on food, transportation, admissions, and miscellaneous. So there they had a tourist tax, which was like $70. We did rent some beach umbrellas. We bought a few more things for the apartment, like pot holders, a tea towel, and food was just more expensive there in general. And then our 2 weeks in Tirana, our apartment cost $576, so $41 a night. But we applied some of our credit card points money, So I've only recorded the cost of what we paid, which is $256. And we spent $700 on food, transport, admissions. So we really only did a couple things, but those tickets cost about $70 for bunk art and the cable car. We've eaten at a restaurant every day. When we get
There
drinks.
was one day we skipped.
Oh, we had pizza. We had pizza here in the very beginning.
I had pasta, so maybe 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Close to it.
And but we have, normally if it's hot, we're stopping and buying water or ice cream or slushy, so all that's included. I do try to keep our accommodations at $1,500 for 28 days, which is $55 a night, and we averaged at $52 a night, and that includes the 3
Nights in Skoder.
or paying double for 3 nights. So airport tonight when we leave, 2 nights in Skoder. So we stayed in our budget for that. And I am glad we came now because the amount of construction and tourism we've seen, I can only imagine that prices are going to keep going up and up and up.
And crowds.
And crowds, yeah. So,
Everybody keeps talking about it.
yeah, it's hot. Although months, eventually within 5 to 10 years, they'll both be in Schengen.
That's the plan.
So that will remove it from
Options. As
options,
much.
Yeah.
And that'll cut that Albanian 1 year USA.
Yeah, we don't know, but you can get Albania and Montenegro for sure. You can get residency by buying a house or property. So there are some YouTubers that have bought like a condo type place, and they can own a car and all kinds of stuff while in Europe. So maybe
Or Kosovo.
So that's our summary. We leave tomorrow. We're home for 2 months, 9 weeks, and then we will start our
Next journey.
Hungary. Where are we going? Budapest, Hungary, Zagreb, Croatia, Maribor, Slovenia, Graz, Austria, and Vienna. We have 5% of that plan. So, thanks for watching our videos.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.